This is the Precidio of Tubac, garrisoned by Spanish in 1752. The old Presidio of Tubac.
Remember I showed on the military record census, I showed his name as Espanol. This is where he was when that census was made in 1790. That was a few years ago. And then later when Sam came, Sam actually bought a ranch out here. And we used to call it his Sonorita Ranch. So this is where he had his ranch, was right out here, which is right over that way, about 5 or 10 miles. But a lot of family history here. This is our Pima Indian.
What would he do on a ranch out here? What kind of
Raising cattle. Yep, he took about 4 or 5 acres to feed one cow, but he had cattle and he had water. This is the Santa Cruz River, the same river that goes right through Tucson. This is the Santa Cruz River right there. So we're going to have a little movie. They're going to talk about the movie. And remember there was that one drawing I showed, a sketch that looked kind of like that in my talk yesterday. Yep. That's Tubac. But again, the Apaches got to him. Tubac, the reason why Modesto Lauderdale had to leave here, they were military, but the Apaches became so bad that they actually had to move to Tucson where there was a fort to protect themselves. And they were the Spanish military. So the Apache Indians became very aggressive in the early 1800s. And so all of that and all of this all was abandoned. And everybody moved to Tucson. Well, those Apaches were bad guys. They were bad guys.
I feel like I'm doing a flyby.
Yeah. So Sam's place. Yeah, this is it right there.
So it's for Precidio too to see that side.
This is the picture here, Chuck. This is the picture that they have right up there.
Yeah.
In fact, take a picture of that, and then we'll make a slide out of it. It's too late now. I'm never going to give this talk again, but it'd be nice to have.
Let me see this one.
He's gonna shoot it from 20 miles up. There you go.
And remember, then Juan Bautista Anza was his commander. And they've got books on Juan Bautista right up there. What they wore and how they wore it. That is how Modesto Lauderdale Santa Cruz looked in the mid-1700s, about 1740, 1750. And remember, I showed you the military garrison record of Tubac, where we are right now, and it said Modesto Lauderdale Santa Cruz, and what was it? Spaniard. So he came from Spain. Okay? So this is one of the first landing places of our Spanish line. It was right here. And then, if you look at the picture, that big color picture on the wall out there, you saw that last night in black and white. That big color picture there. And that was when Tubac was at its prime. But what happened in the very late 1700s, early 1800s, the Apaches got so bad. I need to back up. Remember that Irish Spaniard, okay, O'Connor, came up from Mexico, and he's the one that said, we're going to build a Presidio against the Indians right here. And they hired a bunch of the Indians, and they built the Tucson Presidio, right? And remember yesterday, Knox Corbett's house, the wall to his yard was the wall, the northwest corner of that Presidio. So we stood right there where that Presidio was yesterday. Okay? That Presidio was already built. Nothing but a bunch of Indians up there. So the Spaniards kept their military here at Tubac, because Tubac was closer to Arrecife, which was the big Spanish outpost that they wanted to keep the Indians away from. And so Tucson was too far away. The Indians just went around Tucson and then attacked the lower colonies of Spaniards. So they moved the military down here to Tubac to be closer to where the Spanish settlements were to protect them better. Well, in the late 1700s, the Apaches decided that they were going to just take care of those Spaniards. They were just all white-skinned people anyway, just take care of them in a hurry. So they attacked Tubac a couple of times. And they attacked them so fiercely that the Spanish military that was here to protect everybody, they said, we can't stay here at Tubac. The Indians are too bad. And they couldn't go back towards Mexico, down to Arizipe, or past Guivavi, because that was too close to the Spanish outpost that they were supposed to be protecting. They were supposed to be out there on the frontier, the macho guys, protecting, the Spaniards from the Native Americans, the Apaches. So Juan de Anza had no choice, Juan Bautista Anza, except that he had to move them up to Tucson so that they would have the walls of the fort to protect themselves. As a result, much of our family, including Juan Modesto Eladio Santa Cruz, and his wife, and some of our Bohorquezes, and some of our Morenos and our Romeros are on that Tubac military garrison record. And so literally, our family literally moved from here up to Tucson, because there we had forts to protect us against the Apaches. We were supposed to be protecting everybody else from the Apaches, so we got into the fort up at Tucson and said, no more arrows, guys, time out, just go away, Apaches, go away. Well, of course, the Apaches didn't go away, And this is what Juan Modesto Eladio Santa Cruz looked like, and 2 or 3 of our Bohorquezes, one of our Morenos, and one of our Romeros from Spain. This is how they dressed when they were here at this place right here in the military garrison before they took tail and ran. I mean, before they were moved up here to Tucson to be in there. And so that's how our family got to Tucson. The Apaches drove us to Tucson, literally, from Tubac. So while our family was here at Tubac, all of our baptisms are done at Tumacocari and Guivavi, which are all just down the road from here. So that's why Tumacocari and Guivavi, remember yesterday I showed you the pictures of those two old churches? That's why, because our family lived here, because this was the furthermost Spanish settlement of all of New Spain. It wasn't Tucson. That was Pima Indians and Yaquis and Papagos up there. And the Spanish really weren't into protecting them much. They were here to protect the Spaniards. And so after that, moved to Tucson, then we get the Santa Maria Mission built, then we get the big Catholic nunnery built, and then once the church comes and it gets established in Tucson, now the military has no choice but to protect the church, because the church ran everything. The Catholic Church ran everything, including the military. Indirectly, of course, but the church was in charge. And so this was the home of our ancestors before the Apaches drove us to Tucson. And that's what they look like. You have 3 or 4 Spanish ancestors on that census that I showed you of Tubac, the Tubac military yesterday. I showed you the slide and I showed you their names, and this is what they dressed like. Except that this probably isn't true, because he looks pretty handsome. When you were out on the Spanish frontier, you probably had a few holes in your pants. They were dirty, because they were out here, they were out here riding horses, chasing the Apaches in the mesquite trees. And so they probably didn't look quite that pretty. That's what they look like. And that is, there was a sketch made by a Spaniard, and that color picture on the wall, I showed you the original sketch, the hand drawing of that. Someone has painted a picture of it, and that's what this looked like when Modesto Eladio was here. So if you want to see the streets that he rode his horse down, and the church where he went, the little buildings that he went, that big color photograph out there, that was his Tubac. That's what it looked like, because Spaniards had drawn what it looked like in the late 1700s, and that's it. So this is the home of our ancestors just before Tucson, before there was a Tucson. All right, so I don't know what's on this thing. I have not seen this movie. Is everybody ready to play? So that's our ancestors, the Pimas and the Spanish. And we probably have a little Apache bug in us too, because some of the Apaches were friendly Apaches, and they also intermarried in Tubac and Tucson. So whenever your mother gets really upset, say, the Apache needs to go away and the Pima needs to come in, Mom. Because the Pimas were the quiet Apaches.
Well, that's why Mom always went on the warpath when we were.
That's right, when we were a kid. Actually, she never got angry with me. I don't know about you, Megs, but
Oh, I
no. Now you're welcome to go out and walk around. And make sure you take a look at that picture, because that picture, that was Modesto Ladio Santa Cruz's Tubac. He lived here for about 15 years.
In about 5 minutes, we need to get in the cars heading out again.
And so just kind of roam around the
Where'd you
Precidio a
come
little
from?
bit,
Waiting for you guys.
and we're going to take off again.
Margaret.
Each time he went out on an Indian raid or whatever.
Okay, this is the ground plan. This is the main administrative building where the garrison was housed. Well, the officers anyway.
He was not an officer. He was a carbineer. So he was a regular foot soldier from Spain.
So here's what it looked like then. Here's what it looks like now.
Have you tried it? Hi, good morning.
Where have you kids been now?
Well, we got lost.
Yeah, that was 45 minutes out of it.
Yeah, so we, yeah, we finally found it, and then we couldn't get it cut off Mom's cell phone, our cell phone.
Now we're going down into an excavation exhibit below. We'll see what's there. This is the 1766 Presidio plan. We are down 2 stories to come down to the excavation level of the original Presidio. Interior Presidio wall, adobe brick, foundation stones, 19th century foundation. What's interesting is over here, it actually shows the layers. We have a 19th century floor up here, and as we go down a foot, about 2 feet, we get an ash layer, which is the Presidio floor level. And as you can see, here is a log, part of the burnt out log. You follow the 19th century layer over, and you have glass sticking out. There's glass there sticking out.
It's hard to stay on that time scale. And you
Up
got
this
people
way.
waiting, people have to go hiding.
And these, some of the things that they have found. Spanish-Mexican 1752, it says, to 1854. And we'll hurry through this. Indian heads, bones, pottery, glass implements, an old razor. This is American, 1854, 1974. And there's your old grinding. These were found in 1974 excavation. This is the old grinding mill, and that is where they would lash the horses to push the grinder. Come on, Liz, give me a push. This is a replica of what it must have looked like back in the 1700s. I know we're pretty close here. There we go. Zoom in, get in the shade. There we go. Now you can see the implements that are inside underneath. This is Father Kino.
Father Kino. That's the reason why Tubac came into existence, because he had a church here, here, and a Tumacoquery and a Guavavi. And that's where our ancestors came.
Now, this is pretty cool. This is a replica of the fort.
Oh, that is cool, isn't it?
We will do a flyby.
Did you get the saddle, Patty? Oh, no, I didn't get this one. I got the one over at the other house.
Does that look very comfortable, that saddle?
No. Mine protect the horse somewhat more than ours is, rather. Maybe it was for protection.
Oh, check this
Teenage
out.
love life, there was none, man.
Check out the entrance.
There it is. That's Modesto Eladio and Romeros and Morenos, all of our family soldiers, all went in and out of there.
And then there's what it looked like.
That is home.
Drawing, and there's the picture.
Ada Nash was born in 1850, and that is 1858.
So just 8 years.
8 years after she was born, so she probably saw that when it was in its prime. When she was a young teenager, she and Sam.
Pictures.
Just doing it for 45 years.